We're going to talk a little bit about wine here and about Piemonte, the Piedmont region of Italy. Explain to me and to the rest of us about the wines of Piemonte and how they fit in with the grapes and the wines that we might be familiar with.
I think first, I mean, when I came here 5 years ago, I had no idea that Piemonte had so many different indigenous grape varieties. So when you hear people talk about sometimes Brachetto, but maybe more like Barbera, you hear Barolo, internationally maybe more Barolo, Barbaresco. Barolo, Barbaresco, Gattinara, Gemi are all parts of Piemonte. They're all small towns and small areas of the Piemonte where particular grapes are grown. And in this area it's the Nebbiolo grape that is the grape. That's the king of the grapes in this area. And that king of the grapes is grown most famously in Barolo area. And that's what that gives that the Nebbiolo grape its international stage. Then they call it here the queen of the Nebbiolo grape is the Barbaresco, which is found in and around a small triangle of land between Barbaresco, Neve and Trezo. And then you have these other small little areas called Gattinara and Gemi, which is also where they grow Nebbiolo. But they give their particular names also to their small town names also to the grape. But the grape, which is a hugely tannic grape, is the Nebbiolo. This is what this region is most famous for. And the Nebbiolo, the word Nebbiolo means foggy in Italian. And that's because it's grown, although you wouldn't believe it today because we're almost at the beginning of October. But in the next couple of weeks, whenever they start to harvest it, we're going to see the fogs in the morning. The temperatures are going to be pretty cold at night and beautiful during the day. And that fog is, and that sort of heat and cold is what gives this grape its particular, I suppose its particular flavors and its particular characteristics. But Nebbiolo is the grape of this region. But then underneath that, when people come here, because not everybody wants a big, heavy grape and one that really works. So, I mean, Nebbiolo is a grape that works brilliantly with food. But people maybe want to have something a little lighter sometimes, a nicer, maybe an easier drinking wine sometimes with a pasta or a pizza at night. You don't want it maybe a big important wine. And this is where the other grape, the red grape of this area comes in, and that's the Barbera. If you're in California, you might have, because the Barbera grape is grown in California. But it doesn't get a lot of people talking about it necessarily in the States. So when people come here at the beginning, they've never heard of the Barbera grape usually. But by the time they leave, they have, because it's very easy drinking. It's acidic, whereas Nebbiolo is tannic, but it is in some of its best expression as a Barbera d'Asti, almost like can be as big as like a Shiraz sort of style of grape when it's being put down in barriques. It can be quite a light drinking wine for lunchtime as well whenever it's aged in steel. And its whole variety and ability to change its character as a grape is something that gives it great versatility. But on a night when you want your pasta con pomodoro, or your pasta ragu, or your pizza, and you've got a load of friends round, you want to open up a nice bottle of Barbera. That is such an easy drinking wine. In fact, we've got one here today we were talking about. And this one.
Tell me about this one.
This one is actually from one of the best producers in this area, which is close to Nizza Monferrato. The name of the producer is La Barbatella, and they've called it Dell'Angelo, of the angels, and it's 100% Barbera from the Nizza, from vineyards around Nizza, which are the best vineyard areas for the Barbera grape. And it is just really, it's a fantastic, well, Smell it. Tell me what you think. It's got a great nose. You've got sort of like there's cherries, but a little bit of spice in it.
Yes.
So it's for me, if I was to describe it, I'd say this is an autumn wine. This is an early autumn wine, which you could drink. In fact, this one you can just drink on it. I drink it on its own as well. And for me, to drink this on its own, it's really smooth. It's elegant. If I want to drink with my pizza, I'm going, or you know, when I'm eating my pizza, I'll do it. But if I'm going to want a really nice, elegant meal, I drink this one as well. Tell me what you think. Cheers. Cheers. Tell me what you think.
Balanced.
Yeah, very well balanced one.
You
Not
can
too over oaked.
No.
Yeah.
But you could taste a little bit of fruit in there.
Yeah. Do you see what I mean about the cherries?
Yes.
But they're not those really, they're not the early summer cherries, which are like sometimes are the white cherries. They're the red cherries. So you've got some of that, what they call the frutti di bosco, the little bit of the autumn fruits coming in and the fruits of the forest coming in, but not too much. I think it's mostly cherries, but those nice sort of like early autumn, sort of whenever you crush them a bit, all the juice comes out.
It seems like it would go quite well with the typical Italian meals for every night.
Yeah.
Not the real strong things, but...
Did you see what I mean about a really good meal, like a pasta?
Right.
With your a pasta, a bolognese sauce, or a for me, I'm an arrabbiata girl. So you know, for me, something a little bit spicy, because this could cope with it. The word, this is called a Barbera d'Asti Superiore.
Can you tell us about the Superiore?
Superiore doesn't actually mean superior, even though that's how it translates. That's not what this means. What superiore means is that it's been aged in oak. And in this case, they've been aged in the barriques, which is the smaller oak barrels, the barrels that hold the 225 litres, as opposed to the traditional bottes, which, you know, you stand and you look at them and you're like, well, they're about 3 times my height. So they're not this is what gives, the barrique is what gives this some of its gentleness. The wood has softened out the acidity, giving it more length and more depth and a little bit of structure, because a Barbera grape doesn't necessarily have a lot of backbone structure. It has great fruit, has great acidity, and wood balances it out.
It's very drinkable. So we've talked about the killer bees, the Barbera, the Barbaresco, and the Barolo.
Yep.
What else do we have in this area?
Whoa. Well, then after that, you'd think you'd be finished, but you're not. You're not even close to finished. The next grapes that I